Do you want to know how to set limits with a strong-willed child? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about parenting, good communication, and how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about setting limits that the strong-willed child needs. Parenting strong-willed children can be difficult. I recognize that. I've had many strong-willed children come through my home as a therapeutic treatment care foster parent, and because my 4 children were all strong-willed. But I understand the strong-willed person because I'm a strong-willed person too, and so is my husband. So if you can imagine, in our family, we could have had fights and chaos all the time with all this strong-willed energy that was going on in our house. But instead, because we had a plan, because we knew how to handle it and how to direct that strong will in a productive direction, actually, the people who came out of our home were very productive, motivated, empowered, self-starting people, because that is also the power of the strong-willed person. In this video, we're going to be talking about limits that we need to set for strong-willed children and how to set up an environment so a strong-willed child will thrive and will find that power inside to tell themselves no sometimes, so that they can conquer some of the negative effects of their strong will too. Strong-willed children actually want limits. They want somebody to tell them where to stop and why. In fact, the why is super important for the strong-willed child. They've got to know the reasons why. The strong-willed child is looking for something that is not easy to find. They are looking for the truth. Truth about themselves, truth about you, truth about other people, truth about why people do certain things, why they have to make a change when they don't want to. They want the truth. And if they can find the truth, they will die on that wall. If they do not get given the truth, or if they do not locate it on their own, which usually the strong-willed person wants to locate the truth all by themselves, if they don't find it, then they will invent something and call it truth. Okay? They'll say, well, I feel this way, or I have this emotion, and so that's truth. That's my truth. Because that's all they know at that point. So it's really important to remember how smart your strong-willed child is, to continue to teach them things and be sure to tell them the why behind everything. So I would start out by talking about who you are. Who are you? Who are they? Seems very basic, I know, but the strong-willed child often forgets who they are and who you are because they get caught up in what they want and what they think they can do or not do. One of the best ways to set limits is to establish identity within the family. All children learn identity in their home, or they don't, and then the world is left to program it for them, which can be a disaster. So the best thing that a family can do is make sure that it is very, very clear who their family is. Who are we and where are we going? What types of relationships do we want to have? Now, years ago, I wrote a book called Parenting a House United. And in this book, I talked about creating a vision for the family and teaching the family certain skills that they needed for success, like how to follow instructions, accept no answers, accept consequences, disagree appropriately, stuff like that. When I wrote this book, I thought everybody understood who they were in the family. And then people would ask me questions like, well, but what if my child doesn't care about that? What if they won't do anything that I ask them to do? What if they're strong-willed? And I'll say, well, it sounds to me like you have a roles problem. So I actually had to write another book called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, to help people understand who they were to each other in their family. Then they could go ahead and start making that family vision for their future. If you don't understand who you are in the family, you will have dysfunction. If you're experiencing dysfunction, chances are either you're lacking skills or you're lacking roles, or both. So you do need to understand What does mother mean? What does father mean? And it's not necessarily somebody who makes dinner or mows the grass in the yard. That does not define mother or father. Those are just responsibilities. Roles are something that are much deeper, and they impact the entire family unit. So one of the limits is roles. Let's talk about more of those limits and how to set up a great environment for parenting and teaching a strong-willed child. But first, do you see that button that says subscribe? That button is like a magic button. When you push that button, then you will see more videos from this channel. And if you also click the notification bell, then you will be notified when those new videos come out. So click the subscribe button now. All right, so what other limits might a strong-willed person be looking for? Well, they need to know their stopping place, number one. Where do they stop? Because they're gonna push. They like to push. They like to get their opinion heard, right? And so they need to know how to do that. How do you push? Well, I have a skill for that. It's this purple book right here called Disagreeing Appropriately. And then when is it time not to push? Well, there's a skill for that. This green book called Accepting a No Answer. Well, actually, the book is not called Accepting a No Answer. The book is called Porter Earns a Quarter, but the skill that is taught in there teaches accepting a no answer. And that purple book, just so you know, it's not called Disagreeing Appropriately. It's called Page Takes the Stage, but it teaches the skill Disagreeing Appropriately. These 4 children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills, and those 4 basic skills are vital for the success of the environment for the strong-willed child, and they will teach the child the boundaries that they need, the limits, where they need to stop. Put the brakes on. Wait a minute. There is a better way to handle a circumstance. They will help with that. So what are those 2 other skills? They are, the red book teaches following instructions, and the blue book teaches accepting consequences. The red book's called London Lorraine Says Okay, and the blue book is called A Big Win for Quinn. Just a fun fact, all 4 of those books are actually named after my children, and our whole family shows up in the books. Anyways, so when a child learns those 4 basic skills, that gives them their stopping places. They know, oh, this is a stop, and I have to drop the subject here. Or now I have to do that whether I want to or not. And I can always disagree appropriately about it. So disagree appropriately is the friend of the strong-willed child. The strong-willed child wants to have their opinions be heard. Well, give them the way to do it in a way that maintains roles and respect in the family. We do that by sharing with them the skill disagreeing appropriately. I have an entire class on this channel all about disagreeing appropriately. So if you want to look at that full class about disagreeing appropriately, be sure to do so. You can find it at Full Class About Disagreeing Appropriately. So I'm not going to go into tons of detail there, but I will say that disagreeing appropriately usually is a strong-willed child's favorite skill, unless the strong-willed child is a lot more oppositional defiant, in which case they may push back against that skill initially. So keep that in mind. Well, what else do we do to help a strong-willed child learn their limits? We teach them how to problem solve. So teaching problem solving is another key part of the TSG parenting course, and one tool for problem solving that I teach parents how to use that helps develop that prefrontal cortex helps the strong-willed child recognize why they keep battling it out over certain issues is called a SOTAS exercise. SOTAS is an acronym that stands for Situation, Options, Disadvantages, Advantages, Solution. I actually have a book here that teaches about SOTAS and provides a place for parents to record their SOTAS exercises for their children. So SOTA's journal is going to be a great thing for parents to have on hand to help their children learn how to better problem solve so they can make better decisions. Probably the most important thing that you can do to help a strong-willed child learn their limits is to make sure that you're consistent in your corrections. Calm and consistent. You don't need to be angry or upset. So learn how to do a really effective calm correction, and I can definitely teach that in this book here, Parenting a House United. So be sure to look that up or get some training at teachingselfgovernment.com. But if you are consistently correcting the problems, that is going to help them. They want to know where that stopping place is. The corrections show them that. They want to know that they don't get to walk all over you. A strong-willed person is usually looking for a leader, even though they also want to be the leader. They also find it very healing and helpful to be surrounded by somebody that they can trust to lead them as well. So be that leader, be confident, have the skills, and part of that confidence comes by you doing those consistent corrections regularly. Now remember I mentioned that calmness, well, it is important. In fact, I have a special gift for you that should help you with your calmness. It is my Calm Parenting Toolkit. So in the description below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. It's the top link. It says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. So if you click on that link right now, you can have the Calm Parenting Toolkit, which is a mini course to start you on your self-government journey, for free. So click on the link now and I will see you there to provide you with 10 tools for calmness that you can use with that strong-willed child.